it has to be perfectly clear. You know, how you articulate this. So yeah, I think, maybe something do not send these foreign terrorists to American soil. Do not send them to the great state of Michigan. Do not send them to County, my little town of Standish. And do not send them to Lincoln Township. Amen. As Sean Hannity would say, you're all great Americans.
Thank you, David. You're a great American yourself. Some of you know from Monday night that I went to Washington, D.C., and it was pretty much for a 15-hour trip disrespected by the Intelligence Committee on Community Management. I got a letter back from the chair. She's from California, the left coast, and she said that it wasn't appropriate for her committee to discuss. Now, if the Intelligence Committee on Community Management can't discuss Guantanamo, I don't know who can. They were listening to a couple of people that were talking about the Gang of Eight and how they screen the intelligence before the House committee gets the report, because a lot of stuff isn't important. And they were talking about how dangerous it was for the Gang of Eight to do this, because all intelligence was not going to the committee and was not going to the House. So I listened to all of that. I got 5 minutes to get into my story, and then Pete Hoekstra and Mike Rogers both had a question session, as they all do. Anybody sitting on the committee can question any of the witnesses or all of them. And they both questioned me, and I got up to 450 signatures, and the fact that a majority of the people here do oppose this transfer of these people. And for personal safety reasons, because the government has not come and told us what they're going to do. And by the time they make their mind up, according to Bart Stupak, we have 45 days to respond. Then it's a done deal. That's unacceptable. We got that out in testimony. But basically, they dismissed me like a wet rag and pushed me on, unfortunately. The other thing I'd like to talk about is the radicalization of Americans. Zazi, this guy that was from Seattle, that was living in Denver, hanging out at the mosques, so he could get some kind of contact with the sheik or whatever he was, the imam, that planned the 93 bombing of the World Trade Centers. And he was trying to get a terror plot done in New York, trying to get some people to blow up something, a bridge, a building. Lucky for us, and I've said this before, the American people are very aware of what's going on, including some of the Muslims, and they will turn in these situations because they know how dangerous. If any of these situations start, they know how dangerous it is for America, for their communities, and for our communities. So, in a lot of ways, they've been very cooperative. But the FBI and the CIA have a tough task, because if they aren't 100% correct, then they're going to be trashed for being wrong once. And unfortunately, that's going to start a snowball effect that we really don't want to see in this country. A lot of the people that came here Monday came because they're against their government. They don't think the government's listening. They don't like what the government is saying. There were Tea Party people here. There were health care people here. There were tax party people here. There were people who are very fed up with the government. And not everybody in this room understands the need to protest when you don't like what's happening. And I don't know that we can ever convince those people that this is the case, but if we don't like what's happening, we still have the right to stand up and get counted for what we believe in. unfortunately, Washington is sort of like Standish City Council. They don't listen. At 100 people in a room, one person for Guantanamo, 99 against. And after we got done making our statement, and there was 45 or 50 people that spoke, they went ahead and did what they wanted. And the worst part about it is, they said they did this so that they would send a message for federal prisoners and not federal detainees. And they want their cake and eat it too, because right after they voted, Mayor Pro Tem went in the other room and said, we just voted to bring the Guantanamo Bay people here. So the city council says we didn't do that, but then Mayor Pro Tem goes and says we did. So they can't hide behind what they did and say it's not true. They really want those people here, and we need to stand up and tell each one of them when we see them what we think, because they're our neighbors. The third thing, if we can ever get around to it, is the prisoners are coming back into the system, as Paul Pache has said, faster, almost as fast as they leave. There's no jobs, there's nothing for them to do, so therefore they're coming back into the system. They were closing this on the 31st of October, they were closing Muskegon on the 31st of December, now it's the 31st of March. The reason being, they don't have anywhere to put these people. They have to keep the prison open. By the end of the year or the end of January, they're going to have to reopen this prison or some prison somewhere and bring these people back into the system. And the unfortunate part is there's a delayed action here because the state changed the rules. It used to be if you got put in jail for longer than 12 months, you went to the state. Well, they changed the rules. They made it 24 months. So now the judges have to start sentencing people for more than 24 months for the state to take control. That's an unfunded mandate that's been shoved right at the counties. And I know Oakland County doesn't like it, Wayne County doesn't like it, they've all talked about it. We don't like it here either because it's going to cost us more money. And at a time when we don't have the money, it's going to cost us a lot of money. But this is what the state is doing. They will do anything